Casablanca, number 1. Mulholland Drive, David Lynch, number 2. Super weird, super weird. Love it. And number 3, Cary Grant, The Bishop's Wife. This slightly obscure Christmas movie, but just something about it. I watched it every year as a kid growing up, and I just loved it. I've had a lot of near-death experiences, like really close, a lot of times. One time I was driving south on the PCH in California, and I came around I was on my motorcycle, and I came around a tight corner, and there was a cow in the middle of the road. And I'm not like a stunt rider or anything, but I knew I can't hit the cow because that's dead. So I just dropped the bike, and I broke my hand and my arm, and I banged my head really hard on the cement, and the sunglasses cracked and stuck into my eyeball, and I was going right off the edge. This is a 400-foot cliff, right over. So luckily I'd slowed down just before this, but I turned onto my stomach, I grabbed as much gravel as I could, and when I came to a stop, my feet were dangling over the edge. And I was just like, I have somebody watching over me, I think. First concert, Las Vegas, 1984. I was on a road trip with my dad, my best friend, Ron, hey Ron, and my brother. And we got to Las Vegas, and we were driving my father crazy. He just needed us to be away from him. So he found out that there was a concert in town. So it happened to be Van Halen. And we went to UNLV Stadium, and of course it was sold out. There was a giant line, you couldn't get in. But my dad did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It was still to this day, it blows me away. He drove up to the front of the line. Meanwhile, this line is thousands of people long. He drove up to the front, pretending he was lost. And he's like, hey, what's going on here? What are all the people? And he got out of the car, and people are like looking at him like he's an absolute moron. And he's like, oh, this is so, what is it? Is this some kind of show or something? And there are people like, and meanwhile, he's walking closer and closer to the ticket wicket. And people are just staring at him like, yeah, it's a Van Halen concert. He's like, oh, really? Wow, that is something. Meanwhile, now he's at the front of the line, and everyone's just staring at him, and then he just goes right to the way, can I have 2 tickets, please? And they're like, yeah, okay. So they sold him 2 tickets, and he walks off, gave us the tickets, and he left. I'm just like, that was something. And I had this 1967 Ford Mustang. And I was driving down the road, it was early in the morning, I was on my way to university, and this Jeep pulls up beside me, and it's this really good looking girl. And we are kind of doing this sort of cheesy, kind of like checking each other out, driving. I think I even had driving gloves on. Like, that's how cheesy I was. And we were kind of driving, and I had a big Slurpee in my hand, and I was sipping the Slurpee, and I was kind of checking her out and waving, and she'd speed up a little bit, so I'd speed up a little bit. And we got to this red light, and we're just side by side, and I'm kind of trying to flirt and sipping the Slurpee. And I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I thought what would be really cool if I'll just litter, I'm just gonna toss this out the window. So I just whipped the Slurpee out the window. Problem was, the window was not open. And it exploded all over the inside and started just pouring, just dripping down. And I just like scooched down. I put the car in reverse, and I just backed up. And to her credit, love her for this, she put her Jeep in reverse and backed up right to where I was. Can you imagine? Like, why did I think that would be cool in the first place? Like, littering's not cool. And just what she must have been thinking. Needless to say, I did not get a phone number on that one. What are you gonna do?